Got another golf cart video for you today. Recently did the Predator 420 conversion on my Club Car DS, and the problem I'm having is it does need a choke. There's a couple ways to address this issue, but the main thing is my idle circuit. Sometimes when it's obviously warm out, it'll start fine, but other times, I'll give you an example here, it just takes a little while to start. So if I put it in reverse, give it gas, see, it doesn't really want to. Just takes a minute. So that's what I'm fighting with there. So if I run it all the time, if I just put the choke on just a little bit, so you see it runs perfect. But I don't really want to drive around with it like that. I figure what I'll do is put on a manual choke to where you can choke it just when you go to start it, and then it'll run wide open. Some people say that that's not necessary and you can just richen up the mixture on the carburetor, and that is true. These things do run lean, and that could be part of my problem. But I'm not having any of the other symptoms of running lean. I don't have any backfiring or popping or anything like that. So I'm going to try this out. It's relatively easy, not too expensive. The two parts that I'm going to be using are this genuine Honda manual choke bracket here, and then I have basically a universal throttle cable or hand choke cable. This one's from GX390, and there's a lot of different ones out there, relatively inexpensive. The reason I went with this one is because it has a rubber coated cable, and a lot of them just have the steel cable. I just figure for long-term corrosion resistance, something like this would be a much better choice. So that's what I'm going to go with. In my case, I'm going to just mount the choke cable right down here. So you just reach down, pull the lever, it'll be spring-loaded, pull the lever while you're pressing the gas, start to move, and then immediately let go. You could also mount it up here on the dash somewhere the cable is long enough to do that. It's kind of just your preference. This bracket here just replaces the spacer in the carburetor. It's actually pretty easy, so we'll go ahead and get started on that now. Alright, so the first thing, I'll just unscrew this. Then I'll unbolt the carburetor. Slide that off. Alright, so you just remove this spacer right here. This replaces it. And there's this little tab right here. And this little tab is what engages the choke. Just have to make sure the choke's off when you start. What you want to do is you can just pull the carburetor forward to the end of the studs. You don't have to remove it. That way you have room for this to tilt around and fit on here. Slide that in there. So it does work. I was hoping the spring would be a little bit tighter, that way it would just pull it off as soon as you let go. Alright, so now the next thing is the choke cable itself. Obviously this is a very short run. We'll need hardly any cable to do this, which will be good. So we'll drill a hole. need it too tight. These are plastic threads. Just make sure it's snug. Alright, once you get that snug down, you want to we're going to cut the cable to length. So you want to remove the inner cable completely. That way it's out of the way. And we'll just route this how we want it to go. And so this piece here only needs to go under here where it's secured, like that. And then just the loose wire will run the rest of the way. Alright, so once you get the length figured out where you want it, I just cut it with a pair of cable clamps. Make sure there's no sharp edges. I'm going to lube it with a little bit of bicycle chain lubricant. Alright. Kind of get this in place where I want it. Cut it a little long. Get that out of here. Run this through there. So I didn't have the cable pushed in all the way. Loosen that back up. Push it in all the way. Try it, then I'll cut off the excess. Okay, so when I pulled this, there's our choke. One thing I don't like is the choke is a little hard to pull, and it's because of the carburetor. So I'm going to look and see if there's any way to loosen that up. Okay, so I took it back off, and you can see this little plastic cam. It pushes against this little metal piece right here. So when you move the choke, it clicks between these two areas. So if I wanted to make it so it didn't do that, there's this little bit of plastic that just sticks out down at the bottom there. You can see. I'll just take a razor and trim that plastic so it's flush, and then this will move back and forth without any resistance. And which will work out good because I can easily pull it, and then as soon as I let go of it, it'll just spring right back. Alright, so I just took a little razor and trimmed that up, so now as you can see it moves back and forth freely. There's nothing to hold it either way, which is what we want. So now I'll put it all back together. Alright, so I wasn't crazy with the spring that was on there. It wasn't enough power to like pull it back on its own. So I'm going to try a couple different springs here. Try this one first. Alright, so I didn't really care for how that stock spring was, like I said, so there was no good spot, so I just put a screw right here. There's nothing behind right where that screw is. Put it on here, so now I can say I can pull it, choke, let off, and it pulls it right back. That's what I'm looking for, right there. Now we can go ahead and try it out. Alright, turn the card on. I'm going to put it in service mode here. See, it won't start. If I pull the choke, fires right up. Once again, doesn't want to start. Hold the choke for a second while starting. As you can see, it fires right up. So mission accomplished. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back together here. We'll take it for another little test drive. Alright, we'll give it a shot. Pop it in reverse. John, grab the choke. There we go. obviously once you warm up a little bit, you don't need it anymore. Alright, well maybe this video helped you out. If it did, give me a like, subscribe for more, and if you have any questions, leave a comment below. Thanks.